All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second part of this three-part learning series I've been working on. Glad to have you all here. So this is going to be our details about 2D drawings focused webinar section. I'm Jared Spaniel. I am out of the Fresno office. I'm one of the product managers over here at Digital Dimensions. My email and contact is there on the screen, jspaniel@ddicad.com. If you have any questions afterwards, feel free to email me. I'll also put that up at the end. And you can also ask questions in the chat, which I will try to answer at the end of the webinar. If you want to hang out and get your questions answered, I'll stick around for a bit and answer questions. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm really excited to bring you hopefully some great content and great information that will be really beneficial to you guys. So some of our goals that I want to hit on today. I wanted to show you, how you're going to be able to clearly communicate your manufacturing info utilizing our 2D drawings in SOLIDWORKS, and then how you're going to create views to accurately represent your components very easily. We're going to review a couple different dimensioning options like smart dimension. I like to talk a little bit about ordinate dimensioning and some other things about how to import dimensions and other options with dimensioning that I think will be beneficial. And then we'll look at some other types of drawings like assembly drawings, weldment drawings, and what you can do with some of the features within those tools as far as like ballooning your items and labeling things, as well as inserting tables for bill of materials, cut lists, things like that. So brief overview, we're going to look at some drawing best practices and tips, and then we're going to do some look at some tools on how to expedite creating your drawings. And then, of course, we're going to look at some of the benefits and why you would want to use SOLIDWORKS and why you would want to use SOLIDWORKS to actually create your drawings. So, quick poll question. I want to get a feel for my audience here and see who we have out in the crowd and what you guys are actually using for your 2D drawings at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and release this poll. I appreciate just a quick response there. What do you currently use to create your manufacturing drawings? SOLIDWORKS 3D CAD, another 3D product, 2D software tools like things like DraftSight, AutoCAD, or just simply still using 2D hand sketches, right? So I'll go ahead and give a few seconds on that. All right, great. So it looks like mostly everyone answered, and it looks like the majority of our users are SOLIDWORKS CAD users, which is awesome. And then we have some other 3D product users as well. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. Appreciate your timely response on that. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into SOLIDWORKS and look at some examples. So this is the first part. If you remember, if you joined me for the first section of the three-part webinar series on parts, this is the part we used, and I'm going to utilize a couple different options in this to give you guys kind of the most variety I can in this short amount of time that we have here today. So first off, we created this part. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new drawing here. So make drawing from part assembly, and then you'll notice it's very similar to when you make a new part, you get this pop-up that gives you some options for utilizing different templates. So I've created a custom template here for this demo that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to open that up, and that automatically will bring me into my sheet format here. And what I want to point out first off, as far as like tips and tricks or best practices, is the first thing, very similar to parts, that you should have is a good template, and know how to edit that template and customize that template. So you can see here down, if we look at the corner here, I have just a simple template, and I've done a little customization on this. I've added our company logo just by utilizing the insert picture link up here. So the way you edit these, if you right click, you can do edit sheet format here, or if you go up to sheet format, which is new in 2016, now you can do edit sheet format from your command manager. So they both do the same thing. So once you get into that mode, you can make changes in here and do different links and insert images and things like that. And another thing I want to point out here with these links is make sure whenever you guys set these up that you properly link everything, because that way SOLIDWORKS will basically, this is where the power of SOLIDWORKS lies, right? Everything will automatically populate for you. And the way you do that is, say, if I want to just double click on one of these boxes, I can come over here and I can just say link to property, and that'll bring me this link to property box, and I can go in here and link to different properties from my part or the current document and look at different file properties. So I'll just open that up and you can see I can link to my description or whatever file properties I have created in my part document. And I'll show you a good example of that. You'll notice here I have this link to my PRP sheet to my material. If I exit out of my sheet format, you'll see my material here is blank because I don't have a material defined on this part. Whereas if I switch back to my part and I assign a material, so I'll assign just a 1060 alloy, you'll see that updates. If I switch back over to my drawing now, you'll notice my material should update. Let me bring in a part here. Bring in a view. And you'll notice that my material now updates once I brought in that view. So you have to bring in the view first, but it will link to all the properties that you have defined in your part if you have your title block set up right. So that's really important as a very first step, is to have this all set up right so everything comes in and links. And you can customize all these and everything. And the best way to do all that is to copy an existing template and then just basically make changes. And you can find out where your templates are all located if you go up to your system options and your file locations, document templates, and this will tell you where all your templates are located. So SOLIDWORKS comes with a stock templates. You can create your own, and it's best to just make a copy of the one they have, and then you can make changes to it or add and remove things that you want, like your logo and different properties and stuff like that. So that's a great tip as far as the templates go. The next thing I was going to talk about was the view palette, which I kind of already gave away on that one when I dropped the view in. But I want to show you guys this view palette here. This is kind of the best way. If you guys aren't utilizing this, I highly recommend to start utilizing it. It's just so quick and easy. So I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this view. And then I'm going to bring in some new views. So what you want to make sure is, the best thing is I like to always keep the auto start projected view on, but you don't have to. It's a good practice because I'll show you why. Once you drop these views in, it'll automatically begin to project your views depending on how many views you want. If you want your standard 3 views, super easy to project that. And it'll automatically give me my ISO view or whatever views depending on where I drag my mouse pointer away from that or initial view. And you can break these views by holding the control key. So if I hold the control key, it'll essentially break that snap, and then I can place that view wherever I want. If I release the control key, it'll automatically re-snap that to my initial view. So if I escape out of that, you'll see I have my 3 initial views here. And then I'd also like to bring in my ISO. So I'll go ahead and drag that in. And you'll notice it doesn't quite fit on my page. Another really great thing about 2016 that I'm really starting to enjoy is this rescaler down here in the bottom bar here. So if you just click on that, you can rescale your whole drawing just by one click. So if I do like a 1-to-1, it automatically scales everything for me. So I can clean these views up a little bit, delete some of these lines, and then you can also change the views individually. So if I wanted to make this view here be shaded with edges, I can easily do that, and I can leave these other views the way they are, right? So another thing, the next thing I want to show was the power of model items. So if you guys aren't using model items, you're seriously missing out on some of the great power here. I know a lot of people are still coming in here, including myself. When I first started using SOLIDWORKS many years ago, I would come in here and I would utilize the smart dimension, and I would click on my lines and I would drop my dimensions in and I would dimension it how I want, which is all great and good. You can still do that, but a huge time saver is if you do a little work on the front end and design your parts the way you want as far as dimensioning them and conveying that design intent, you can bring in all those dimensions with one click. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I like to usually do in here just my personal kind of liking with this dimension selector is I usually like to bring in, the marked for drawing stays on for default. I like to bring in the not marked, and then the hole wizard and the hole callouts, especially obviously if you have holes. The other ones I don't use too much. This is radial revolution counts, and this is tolerancing, and leave eliminate duplicates on, and then I take the use dimension placement and sketch off. In this case, we want to bring in, you can do a selected feature or you can do entire model, import into all views, and then just hit the green check mark. And you'll notice it basically dimensions my entire part for me with one click, right? Now there is some cleanup here, some things I don't want, or redundancies I may not want, or things that I'm not necessarily referencing as good dimensioning practices. So easily you can just delete those and clean them up. But with that, another thing I want to show you guys was another great tool that is highly underutilized. If you select all these dimensions with just box selecting, dragging, and then going into tools, align, you'll see all these different options in here for how to align the dimensions, right? So if I want to do, like, say, align left, it'll bring everything to the left, align right. So if you're following a specific practice or a specific company guideline, depending on how you want to dimension, you can easily utilize some of these tools. And the best one in here really is this auto arrange. So if you bring in a ton of dimensions into a print and you want to arrange everything in one click, just come in here to tools, align, and say auto arrange, and it'll clean everything up for you. Look at that. It cleans everything up for me with one click. So I can come in here and, you know, just clean up some of these other dimensions I want or I don't want, or just move things around and clean things up, right? Depending on what design practice I'm using, or what design standard I should say. So at that point, you know, you got two clicks basically. You got model items to bring everything in, and then you use the align to align all those dimensions, auto align the way you want them. And then at that point is when you should come up here, utilize this smart dimension, add some dimensions that are trying to convey your design intent. Like if I want to control the dimension between these two holes, I can easily drop that dimension. If I want other spacing, if I want to say this hole from here, I can still utilize all that smart dimensioning technique and everything and add those dimensions on manually. So a great technique for adding dimensions, right? Really quick, really easy, a huge time saver. Another good one is if you're not aware of the shift key. So if you have a dimension, say that you want on one, is on one view, but you want it on another view, if you hold down the shift key and just grab that dimension and drag it, you can move that dimension to the other view. So you don't actually have to go back into the smart dimension and redimension things. You can just drag and drop dimensions from view to view, which is great, especially if you're say creating a section view. So if you want to do that, create a section view of that view, you can grab it, drop a section view in here somewhere, and then it'll create that section view over here. And then you can drag and drop those dimensions where you want them to be, right? So if I create my section view here, my green check, I can bring that over, and then I can drag and drop dimensions over there as needed, right? So I don't have to actually redimension things. So a great tip on the views. So that was the part. Now let's look at some other things that we can do with drawings that are really helpful. The first one I wanted to look at was also show you guys an assembly drawing. So I have this really cool assembly of a bike hub that I worked on. So I have a couple exploded views in here. So you'll notice if I explode my view, I have my bike hub exploded. So same principle, I'll create a drawing from that. I'll use the same template that I had, my C size, and it automatically brings me into that C size print with my predefined title block and company name. And then it gives me a bunch of different view types down in the view palette over here, which I showed, I really love. So in the view palette here, it gives you some options when you create the exploded views. It already has the isometric exploded view here, so I can actually pull that out, or I can pull the ISO out. Two ways to do it. I can pull the ISO out, and then I can just click on that view and say that I want to show it in exploded or model break state, and then I can select if I have multiple different exploded views. You can see in this case I do. I will grab this view and it explodes it for me within that exploded view. And then I'll rescale my assembly to the sheet, right? And then what I wanted to really show here was the bill of materials stuff. So if we look at this, turn these axes off. If we look at the bill of materials here, the ease of inserting and ballooning, if you guys aren't using either the bill of materials or the auto balloon, you really should start looking into that. So I'll assign a bill of materials here, and I'll select this view, and I'll just grab the green check mark, and you can see that it brings in all my bill of materials with my item numbers, my quantities, and my descriptions. And you can easily change these headers out if you want by double clicking on them, and it gives you a bunch of options in here for custom property. If I want to have a part number or a material, you can see I actually only have one material defined for this specific part. And then the power of auto balloon. So if you guys aren't using auto balloon, you'll notice this little lightning bolt next to it. Very powerful tool. If I select this view and just say auto balloon, it'll automatically balloon that entire view for me, and it brings in my magnetic lines and everything automatically. And I can even control how the balloons are positioned, whether they're top, bottom, left, right, if I want them to be radial around it, all that kind of stuff, right? And I can check out of that. And then you can see I have my balloons all positioned on there with my magnetic lines. I can grab and drag those magnetic lines around, move them to reposition my balloons how I want them to be. So great technique. And you can see these descriptions are all linked to the properties in the part. So I actually went into each individual part and created a part property for each description. So if I open up, say, this part here, say open this part, it'll actually show me, if I go up into file, this is where the descriptions lie, file, properties. If I go up in here, I can actually see that I have created a property for description, custom machined hub, and then I've created a material property as well for this specific material that's linked to this part. And you can see that it's linked to my part, 6061T6. And that's also showing up in my evaluated value here since it's based off of this. And that's why it's showing up in my drawing as I created it here. So I've got my part descriptions and my material there. Great. So we've looked at parts and assemblies. Let's take a look at another one really quick that I want to show, weldments. So this is a simple bike rack I created that's made out of some weldments. Let's go ahead and create a drawing from this, and I'll show you what you can kind of do with some of the benefits in weldments. So I get the same options here in my view palette. I'll drag my ISO in, way too big. I'll shrink that down a bit. And what I really want to show here was the power of the cut list. So if you look at my cut list here, if I go up to tables, I can say tables and then weldment cut list, and that'll actually allow me to bring in the cut list for this part. Drag it up here, drop it, and then you can see that it's telling me all my item numbers, how many I have of each. In this case, they're all the same, schedule 40 pipe. And then the main important thing here is it's giving me the length of each part. And then I can go back and reutilize that auto balloon feature, and it automatically drops in all those balloons for me. So within just a few seconds, I have that part imported with my weldment cut list and my fully ballooned assembly here, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at another quick example. Another one that I think might be a little underutilized is the ordnate dimensioning. So if you have a part that's really a simple part like this, it's just a sheet, maybe a sheet metal sheet or a thick plate of aluminum, but it has a bunch of different hole locations on it. Your machinist will love you for this. If you do a new drawing, same thing. I'll just do this template, open it up. So if you guys aren't taking advantage of the ordnate dimensioning, I really like that as far as what it offers for benefits, because it makes it so simple to dimension these parts. And you can, the main thing that you can do with it is utilize the 0, 0. So if I come up in here, I can say ordnate dimension, and I can grab my 0 start point, and then all I have to do is walk down my part, and it automatically just dimensions all my hole locations, and it'll give me the end length of my part. And I can come in here and I can do the vertical, make another 0, 0 corner, and same thing. Just go in my in the other direction down the part and assign my dimensions here. So a really quick and easy way just to dimension something with a bunch of different hole locations or a bunch of different features on it. Utilize the ordinate dimensioning tool quite a bit. Just makes it super easy for the machinist to see this is the corner I want to start from, and this is the part, all the locations, and then you can of course go in here and add individual tolerances to each dimension, or you can just specify that in your dimensioning standards tolerance table down here in your title block, which is probably the best way to do it, right? Pretty cool, huh? All right, so yeah, we're running a little bit short here. I just want to get as much information out to you guys as possible with what we can do in drawings. So let's go ahead and jump back into the PowerPoint and see where we're at. So some of the tips and best practices summarized that we looked at. Starting with a good template, we went over that pretty in depth and what you need to do there and how you should configure everything and making custom templates. Using the links to populate the title block. So whenever you create that title block, make sure that you're linking everything with your PRP properties that are actually linked back to your part so that all that stuff automatically populates for you, saves a ton of time and effort. Utilizing the view palette to quickly add those views. So that's just a great way that automatically populates everything, and it's all just drag and drop, so you can bring in all those views very quickly, very easily. Using the auto arrange dimension tool, so that's under the tools auto align tab. That's a very beneficial tool for cleaning your drawings up, especially if you have hundreds and hundreds of dimensions, and then you can go in and do some fine tuning or fine cleaning after you run those types of things, like utilizing the model items and stuff like that. Auto ballooning to quickly balloon views. Definitely a must-use tool, auto balloon, to balloon all those views with in assemblies or weldments or stuff like that with lots of components. And then how easy it is to insert the cut list for the weldments and the BOM tables if you have assemblies in there that you're trying to have a list of parts included in your drawing. And then, like I said, take advantage of that model items command whenever you're creating part drawings instead of doing the dimensions individually. Just do them all in one swoop there with that model items command. It's a really great tool for bringing all those in. So some of the benefits of utilizing SOLIDWORKS 2D drawings, right? You're going to be able to create drawings faster and much more accurately, which I think I definitely showed how quick we could create some drawings and how accurate they're going to be. You're going to eliminate errors with that full associativity, so knowing that all our parts are associative to the drawings. So like you saw me open up the part directly from that drawing. You can open up parts directly from the drawing and access those properties, make changes, and then go back to your drawing and see those populate automatically for you. Super user-friendly interface, easy to find things, utilizing the right-click, the things like the View Palette Manager, and all those types of things that just make it really easy and interactive. Really simplified operations, and that's where the auto arrange comes in, the model items. So doing multiple operations in one click or one command, which all leads us to the final kind of big thing that everyone's concerned about, cost and time savings, right? So I'm going to save that time, I'm going to save that cost, creating those drawings quickly and efficiently. Looks like we're running a bit over. Apologize for that. Some upcoming content. I noticed there were some questions in there about what was part 3. So remember to attend the next part of our 20-minute learning series. I'm going to be doing checking assemblies for error-free fitment, June 23rd, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. And then also, since we've had such a great success with this learning series, topics, we're going to be doing another 3-part series, 3-part installment. So look out for the next 3 parts in the 20-minute learning series. Some of the topics I'm looking at are things like import, export, sheet metal, and then weldments, which I know a lot of people are out there using. So those are 2 of my favorite things in SOLIDWORKS. So we'll take a look at some of those, some of the different tools, techniques, options, things like that. Awesome. So I want to thank you all for attending, and just remind you, to think about what if you saw anything today that could benefit your company. And also think about how SOLIDWORKS or other SOLIDWORKS products can help you with any upcoming projects. Don't forget to follow us, as usual, Twitter at DDICAD, and then on Facebook and LinkedIn at Digital Dimensions Inc. Once again, my name's Jared Spaniel, jspaniel@ddicad.com. Feel free to email me if you have any questions, comments, feedback. I love to get the feedback, questions, comments. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. That's what I'm here for. So don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask questions, and I'll definitely help you guys out, look at your parts, answer questions, whatever you need. That's my job. So feel free to reach out to me whenever you get a chance. With that said, I hope you guys have a great Tuesday afternoon, and hopefully I will see you next month at our next 20-minute learning series installment. And I'll hang around for a few minutes if anyone has any more questions on the chat. Thanks for attending.